In this show, we're going to teach you, if you're a speaker, how to launch yourself across a digital world and be incredibly fabulous and successful. Yes, today we share with you the Virtual Speaker's Business Blueprint on the Toilet Paper Diaries.
Hi, Dave. Great to see you again. And I hope that next week we will be able to actually see each other, because from what I understand, there's going to be a solar flare which is heading on Earth. And right now I'm not surprised with anything. So if it is a solar flare or whatever, I do not know. But that's exactly what I just heard in the news.
It's like somebody has decided that the episodes of TV shows on Netflix are actually real life. So a solar flare that could possibly, damage all our electronic equipment and put us in the Stone Ages is just, I'm not even bothered checking out the UFOs that they've been talking about that are real. I don't care. I'm too busy. I haven't got time. I'd rather not meet ET if that's okay. So I'm not surprised by anything right now. All I do know is that gigs are kind of moving back out again. And I've been spending this week working at an event called Gulf Food. And that's the biggest, it was the biggest food festival on the planet. But the big difference is now it's the only event of its size on the planet. About 10,000 people coming through every day. I'm talking to chefs, I'm talking to food experts. I'm broadcasting it live as well as obviously having in person with social distancing. And today's show, I want to be able to address that whole new business model for every speaker who's going, great, I can't wait to get in front of an audience. Hold your horses. It's not what you think it is anymore. A room that would carry 100 people now carries about 15 to 20 when you've got 2 meters in between everybody. So that means you've got to change your business model, and that means you really have to know how to up your game. And that's what we're sharing today's show.
Yeah, it's super true. I'm also right now running the Freemium to Freedom Challenge. And right now doing 5-day challenges for speakers, experts, authors. It is also great. Yesterday we had about 100 people watching the show live, which is a presentation live. It goes for 1 hour, and everybody was watching, and they stayed with us the full hour. And absolutely, the model has changed completely. So what we're going to be presenting today to you, if you're a speaker, if you're an expert, if you're an author, I think you're going to absolutely love it. So sit down. Make sure that you take some notes, because we're about to tell you what we know on what's going to be the speaking industry in 2021 and beyond. So, Dave, let's just get started with all this great content from today.
Right, first thing to write down, and there's 12 things we're going to share with you, with a few extra bits thrown in, is make sure you advertise your participation. Now, what that means is whenever anybody hires you to speak, your reputation should precede you. Now, we've already mentioned on several episodes and in lots of videos we've done that you're not being hired for your speaking ability, you're being hired for what you bring to the table and how you can make the organizers look good. Well, this is how you make them look good. You let everybody know that you're going to be there, you use your social media clout, you let everybody know that it's a really good event, so everybody who's organizing it feels good that you're behind it. And that means that when you arrive to speak at the event, whether it's virtual or in person, you should have a ton of people who've already done their research on you. So it takes the pressure off you having to have that first impression, because they did it watching your videos and looking at your social media quite some time before.
Yeah, it's super important right now, especially that you're not going to be actually being there in person with everyone, that you're using every single piece of advertising, marketing, whatever you have is absolutely very important. So let's go to number 2, which is going to be the preparation. For the preparation, this one actually it's incredibly different than most people will think, because right now there's so many different platforms. The first thing that you need to find out when you're going to be speaking is you have to ask the organizer, what platform are you going to be using? I mean, there's going to be some people which are going to be using Streamyard, some people which are going to be using YouTube Live, some people which are going to be using Zoom. And as soon as you know what the platform is, make sure that you know exactly how to use that platform, because I have seen even incredibly well polished speakers in the platform, when they go into speaking on a virtual platform, I mean, they look like absolute amateurs. And that is one of the first things that you need to do when you are talking about the preparation. Now, the next thing that you need to do on the preparation, right now the timings have varied, and right now they're extremely accurate. I mean, for example, if they tell you, well, you know, it's going to be a 20-minute presentation, that's what it is, and you need to really be prepared for that 20-minute presentation. Previously, when you were doing a live presentation, it was going to be an hour, or it could be 90 minutes or whatever. Right now, the times have been reduced, so you really need to know how to deliver your message fast and quickly. And the next thing I think that you need to know on the preparation part is how to handle all the stuff that you need to do. I mean, you need to have the right lighting, the right equipment, the right microphone, because also it's so sad when I see a good speaker which is hanging their headset here and trying to talk like this, and they do not have a proper microphone. That just makes you look really like an idiot, sorry to say.
Absolutely so true. And the thing is, each of these steps are things that people will see you and go, wow, that wasn't impressive. And even if they hide you this time, they'll just go, you're making me look bad for the next time. So you really got to be up to speed with those things. Number 3 on the list is engagement, working with your audience, making sure that you're delivering content that they really absorb and they love. Now, there's a lot of different steps to doing this, but the most important thing is treat it like doing a live cooking show. So all the time you're taste testing to make sure that the food doesn't get spoiled, it's on point. So by the time you get to your 20 minutes or whatever duration your presentation is, you know you got your audience with you. Now, this is where it becomes even more challenging. Now, we mentioned earlier that a session could be 20 minutes. And you might say, that's not enough time. Well, think about it. If it's online, the difference is they only need that for the total of maybe 2 hours or maybe an hour and a half. That's all they have before people start getting bored and start looking at their Facebook or LinkedIn page instead. So what you've got to do is make sure that not only is your engagement right, but when you're used to working with a live audience, it's simple. You can see the reactions from everybody on their faces. When you've got the full screen and you're showing your PowerPoint or you're fully in there yourself, or you've got videos going, you can't see your audience at all. So imagine having a bottleneck. Imagine having a bottle where, for instance, if this was a bottle, you've got the normal way of going forward with a live audience, then you've got to squeeze it through a nib to get to the other side. That squeezing it through the nib or the bottle of the neck of the bottle is what you've got to do with all your charisma or your stagecraft and all your talent to get everything that was to a live audience to one person. And when you're broadcasting, you're speaking to one person only. So why is that relevant? Well, very simply because if you understand how to work live audiences, you know what you would have got by saying that. But this time you've got to say it to one person and get it right. So how can we make this work?
Absolutely. That's a super, super good point. And whenever you're saying you're talking to one person, you know what is one of those things that I also keep on seeing speakers at all levels. I mean, I am saying from top guys, when they are speaking, instead of actually looking at the camera, they're looking at their screen. You go like, oh my God, this is just absolutely crazy. So you're absolutely correct, Dave. Very good. So point number 4 is going to be the objectives. And for this, once again, we do not know if you're going to be presenting for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. We have to be fast. And what is going to be the objective of why we are going to be doing that presentation? So think about how can we say it was mission accomplished? I mean, if I deliver a presentation, how would we say that it was mission accomplished? For example, right now we are seeing, and this is something that we feel very, very proud. It took us a long time to actually get there. But when we started doing the show, I mean, in some cases, I mean, it was either one person talking too much, the other person not talking that much, Sometimes we were doing jokes that we possibly wouldn't have been saying. Sometimes we didn't really have exactly an objective, but because of working out so many times together, now we know exactly how it all works. So one of the things that you need to really consider is, how can I deliver the message exactly the way I want it? And this is a process. This is something that you really need to work out. And what's going to be the result? So for us now, the result is that in the beginning, people were not really watching our shows for too long. I mean, they started watching the video and within 10 minutes, they were gone. Right now, the retention that we have created, it's over 70%. So most of the people that watch the Toilet Paper Diaries stay with us 70%. So that means that we are accomplishing that specific goal. So your goal is to make sure that people stay with you, because if you are not with them, it's very easy for them to get distracted.
Absolutely. But it could also be that at the end of it, your objectives are you've got to train them to be able to be qualified to be able to do something as part of the call to action later on. So there's lots of ways of gauging what that truly is. Number 5 is this: working out what difference did you make to the audience thanks to having that presentation. So to do that, what is their emotional takeaway? How did you make them feel? What did you use your emotional intelligence to get them from A to B, and also translate your message in a way that they will be able to take it and work with it? This becomes all the more difficult in a virtual world because you can't see their reactions. If you're lucky, at the end of it, you'll have some questions that you can answer, which will hopefully be able to fill the gaps. But in real time, you could end up losing your audience completely. And by the time you catch up with them later, it's a done deal. So you really want to know, what are you doing to make that difference to your audience? And that's what you concentrate on doing. And what I would actually do is at the very beginning of a presentation, let them know what it is going to be that they're going to get from that whole presentation. That means that they're more likely to wait until it actually gets delivered. And it means that they're going to be on the same page with you as you start sharing ideas that might be stories and so on with an end result. That's why it's so important to get that right.
Yeah, love it. Very good. Now, our 6th point, which is right now half the way of what we have already covered, is we have to deliver great content. And on this one, I'm going to be really straightforward. If you're still presenting with the regular PowerPoints, you are so 2016. Right now, I mean, being in the digital world, we can use video, we can use audio, we can use so many incredible things to present. Why would you use a PowerPoint presentation with bullet points or with a bad picture? I mean, that is just so outdated, so old-fashioned. And this is exactly what Dave and I are now teaching our clients. I mean, we teach them how to present with video, we teach them how to present with super nice audio effects and everything. So if you are a speaker, if you are somebody which is presenting regularly, make sure to get in touch with us because we can teach you how to actually do this properly. You have to deliver great content, but also you have to deliver great content in a more engaging way. And also, for example, one of the things which is super important is every time that you present, it has to be super updated. It has to be up to date, to what is happening. I mean, right now, if you have some content, I had a presentation, and unfortunately for polite reasons, I will not be able to tell you who it is. But I just hung up with a large training company, that was actually trying to sell me their services. I thought that they were looking for me because they wanted me to do some work for them, but no, they tried to serve me their services. And I mean, it's a company that I had tremendous respect for. And they came up with the crappiest and the most outdated presentation. And they started talking about success stories and examples of 2017, 2018, 2019. Right now, after the pandemic, and you tell me if it's right or not, Dave. I mean, right now, the whole world is completely different. If you post a picture of you shaking hands with somebody, it's already outdated.
Nobody shakes hands anymore. You're bumping, you're elbowing, or you're online and you're nodding at somebody. So you're absolutely right.
Crazy.
It's completely different now. So yeah, if it's not something that means what it should do now, it doesn't mean anything to anybody.
Nothing.
Number 7, measuring each segment that you do for feedback and then doing self-analysis on it. Now, what does that mean? Well, every time that you give a presentation, you shouldn't be going from A to Z in one go and in one breath and then saying goodbye, because you might lose the people along the way. The smart player treats it like a magazine program where you've got little commercial breaks where you could stop and basically find out how it's all going. If you do that, that allows you to be able to discover whether you've missed a bit, whether you've got something wrong, whether your audience is still with you. And sometimes even if they are still with you, it's nice to know that there's a little bit of a gap or a little bit of a breath for them to catch up, and then you move on to the next thing. So how do you do that in practical terms? Well, literally at certain segments throughout your presentation, once you've delivered some great content or something that's a bit different or something that should have them thinking or brainstorming, just take a few moments to say, how was that? Is everybody with me? And look for the chats to light up to let them know that it is fine. The odds are if they don't say anything, you're probably going to be okay. But even if they're not okay, they really do appreciate you taking the time to say, is this okay? Rather than running ahead and moving forward. And of course, you can't be blamed if you ask them and they don't reply. But if you haven't got easy access to a virtual audience to respond to you, you have to be able to do it yourself. Super self-analysis. All the time asking yourself, is this going to work? Is this going to reach an audience? Are they going to have a problem? If so, how do they come back to me? And if you think it might not work, leave it out. They won't know what's missing, but they will know if something jars with them. And that's the last thing you want in a virtual audience, where they could just go click and go and watch TikTok instead.
Yeah, that is a great point. And I think, well, a couple of points that I want to also add on this. One of them is right now, because of course you have the possibility of recording your presentations. Previously was not as easy like that. So whenever you record a presentation, watch it and see what you think. For example, whenever I am watching the replays of the toilet paper diaries, I laugh. I do not know if it happens to you, Dave, but I mean, I am watching the show. I'm trying to see how it is. And I laugh. I mean, because honestly, we are having a good time. We're laughing. We're enjoying ourselves. So watch it and see if it is something that you like. I mean, put yourself into the role of the audience and try to see how it works. And also another thing that I've noticed that every person in the virtual world is doing, because they know that they're not going to have an audience. One of the things that they keep on asking so that they will get some feedback is they finish a sentence saying, right. So you have done this and such, right? I mean,
I hate that.
Oh my God, that gives me the creeps.
It's so amateur and it's so it jars. It's like the opposite of an earworm, which is a song that you keep singing all the time because you like it. Once you've heard somebody using that, I mean, probably don't know it because it might be subconscious. It just feels like nails down a chalkboard every time you say it. And the answer is not right, it's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. For me, every time that I hear it, I say right, no, wrong. It's just terrible. So now we have got that the 7 with the self-analysis and the feedback. Now it's a matter of having always a call to action. Now, this one it's an interesting one because people get very confused with it. What they do is they say, well, go and download my such and such in this kind of thing. Well, that is also very 2018, 2019. What would be a good call to action right now? Right now, for example, I mean, it will be a great thing if you can say, because those are the less threatening ones, go and subscribe to my channel in YouTube. You can provide the channel, or what is even best, and I am trying it right now, and it works great. You say, well, if you text the word hero or the word freedom or whatever you want into such and such number, I will send you my slides, or I will send you something like that. I mean, this is now how it is done. You can do the same thing in Telegram, or just click here right now. Take your phone out and click on your Telegram, and those are the kind of things that you really need right now to start having a call to action. Something that is going to make them, oh, okay, well, I want to reconnect with you. not just give them a money magnet as it was in 2017, 2018, give them a reason to connect with you. That is exactly what is required as a new call to action. I mean, that's how we have been doing it. That's exactly how we are talking about freemiums ourselves. I mean, right now, if we create a video, every time that we do a video, we do a call to action, and then after the call to action is just connect with us. Right now, Dave, you have been doing a ton of stuff in what's the name of this? What's the name of this new platform? The audio platform.
Clubhouse.
Yeah, in Clubhouse. And now in Clubhouse, what you want? You want to make sure that people connect with you, right? Now I'm saying right.
Yeah, and I'm going like chalkboard as soon as you do it. Yeah, but all social media platforms are the same thing. They ultimately are a way of connecting with people with a call to action and get to know that it's actually being received by people. And that's actually number 9. Was your call to action acknowledged? If you're speaking in front of 100 people, say for instance, on Clubhouse, but any platform, and you share a lot of content, a lot of stuff that you know people should appreciate, but then nothing happens. They don't sign up, they don't connect with you, they don't send you a message, and they don't even blink. Then you've got to think, well, somewhere along the line, I lost them. Was it the fact that we don't think that I'm, congruent with my stuff? I'm an imposter? Or did they not understand what I said? Was it too complicated down the line? Was it a feeling that they just want to get off because you've overstayed your welcome? You need to work it out. And it might be the fact you have to work out what the percentage conversion rate is for what you've got with your call to action. Some ones work better than others, and some audiences are easier to work than others. Treat it like a science. Go through the data. The more you know, the more you understand, the better you can do to hone it and throw away the stuff that doesn't work. And the very best people to convert and do real huge sales when they speak know exactly what happens when they say this at that time, and they know what it converts to. So always bear that in mind. But here's the thing, you don't necessarily have to sell anybody when you've done a presentation. But what I would say is you should always have a reason for people to want to do something after spending that time with you. Even if it's just send me a message on LinkedIn and I'll send you the PDF, or just let me know it's working really well by sending me a direct message on Instagram. That is the very least of what you should be doing. Otherwise, you've had this opportunity to talk to a lot of people and you've walked away. Now, what's going to happen is the next person that comes along and does what you did will capitalize on you and them and that goodwill together, and they'll be able to upsell to a whole other stuff because you left an audience for wanting more, and you should never do that. Exactly.
Absolutely. I fully agree with you. So the next one is going to be client feedback. And on this one, this is quite interesting. It has also changed dramatically throughout 2020 and 2021, and it's going to continue changing. It's, first of all, that you get paid. Right now, there are paid gigs. Of course, there are. Prices have gone down because, of course, I mean, there's no travel and there's no hotels and there's no other things which are going there. So right now, getting a speaking gig for $15,000 or $10,000, it's challenging. I mean, some people say that they are. I think it's. I'm not sure if they are doing it or not. But right now, I mean, let's say that you're getting $2,500 or $3,000 or whatever you're getting paid up front. Are they happy to pay you that amount? Do they think it's fine? The other thing which I think is just important is, are you getting rebooked? What are you getting? Do you have a front end? Do you have a back end so that you will be able to say, well, I can speak at no cost because, of course, afterwards I will be able to sell some sort of service or benefit to companies. Do you have any complaints? I mean, it's very important. I mean, right now, you know what? One of the things that I think Dave and I could be very, very grateful for, it's a number of our pre-pandemic customers are asking back for us. I mean, what are you doing right now that you can help us? So we know they're calling us back. If you do a presentation and you're not being called back, if they are not asking you to do other stuff for them, if you cannot have present for free so that you can do consulting afterwards, that kind of thing, then you're doing this thing wrong. the speaking industry has changed forever. And if you do not understand these 12 steps that we are presenting to you right now, you're effed.
You are, indeed. Effed and Jeff. Number 11, your personal check counter. Now, this is about your self-analysis. This is your ability to go through everything you've done from your side and say, have I done all those things properly? Have I done them and delivered the way that I wanted to? Now, the hardest thing is for people who aren't used to speaking, the voice that says you haven't done very well is so overpowering they won't get up and speak. When you've been an established speaker, you can ignore that voice and go out and deliver, but you should still be ultra critical. Now, the way that I deal with it is obviously you check to see if you've been paid, you got good feedback and all the rest of it, but it's always sometimes you get some negative feedback from yourself or from a client. If it's from a client, you pay attention to it because that's somebody who might or might not book you, and it may be somebody in the future that you want to watch out for, or even that the gigs in the future, it might be a repeating thing that you just hadn't considered. But if you don't have anything from that, then go back, watch the footage of you working and do it with a very critical eye. Now, what I do with criticism is I imagine I have a bag in front of me, a virtual bag, and in there I put all the good things, the bad things that people say, and I shake it up and I take out the things that are useful only. All the good stuff and bad stuff is irrelevant, to be honest with you. What can I do to make my presentation better? So the next time that I deliver, I'm one stage closer to becoming perfect or excellent. And the thing is, with us changing to going online and offline and all the many changes that are happening in the presentation world, you need to do that to stay afloat. It's not just a presentation. It's about treading water and staying in the position that you should be as well.
Yeah, no, that's super important. And now the 12th step, or the 12th point, which right now you're going to see us doing it, because I think it's super important. I mean, right now, how many speakers, Dave, have you seen that after we went in lockdown, suddenly it was like if Earth swallowed them? They suddenly disappeared. There's nothing. They haven't even appeared anywhere. Because, of course, I mean, they have no clue.
Most of them, to be honest with you, even if they're doing something, they're not doing something in public or nothing to shout about.
Exactly. So right now, and this is absolutely critical, point number 12, you have to share your footage to create social proof. So Dave, today, and I've noticed, I mean, one thing that I really have to acknowledge, I really appreciate that after such a day for you, you are still right now with everybody. So I really appreciate it. It's very late right now in Dubai for you. So what were you doing? Why don't you tell people what were you doing today? And possibly we can show a little bit of it.
Okay, so today I was hosting at Gulf Food, which is the world's biggest event right now. It's also the world's biggest annual food event on the planet. And I was hosting a room where I had entertainment coming up. I had a magician who was doing stuff for the audience, but more than that, I had a number of different Michelin star chefs and advisors and consultants coming up and being interviewed, really top-notch people who brought in their own fans and followers to see them being interviewed about their craft. So I did that from about, let's say we started about 10 o'clock today, finished off around about 4 or 5 o'clock, headed home. As soon as I got in, obviously I had paperwork and stuff to do, but then I've got the editing of all the footage. Now, why is that important? Well, the stuff was streaming, but not through my particular channel. So therefore, what I've done, and you can catch it on my social media, is I get everything I was involved with, packaged it together, so it's exactly the way that I want to deliver it, with my jingles, my branding, and my name all over it. Then I broadcast it before tomorrow. So by the time that I get into work tomorrow morning, it will have been 4 or 5 hours of broadcasting of what happened the day before. So I can arrive and people will say, I was watching your stuff on the way. On this morning, I was watching it on LinkedIn. It's important to have that social media proof. Now, why is that so relevant? Why would I care? Why would I put all the extra effort in? Well, because right now it's incredibly cutthroat. One of the things that Ernesto mentioned earlier is where are all the speakers gone? It's important for me to say, here I am, look, and there's the evidence of the gigs I'm doing. I'm not making it up. I'm not saying I'm busy. You can see and busy. And that's what gets you the next gigs, because people only want to hire the busy speakers, because quite clearly they're busy for a reason. If you've got nothing to do and you let people know, yeah, I'm available. When do you want me? I'm available every hour you can think of for the next 20 years. They're going to go, oh, well, maybe I should go for something less busy. And that's why you need that social proof.
Yeah. And as they say, I mean, out of sight, out of mind. And this is what is happening to a lot of people. I mean, this is one of the reasons why we have also been having the show. Now this is episode 89, and we are still doing it. Why? Because we want to be in front of everybody. We want to be we want to make sure that people see us. And there's so many people that see us right now, which of course is just great. And then also it's super important that you keep on showing to everybody what you are doing.
So to explain this, why don't you just watch these clips to understand what we're doing? This is what I'm doing. Hi, I'm Dave Crane, and welcome to my brand new show, Life After Lockdown, specially dedicated to help you to find your way in your business or your endeavors, even to find a job, depending on what's happened to you during the lockdown and the pandemic. Every single episode I'll dedicate to helping you to find your way with lots of tools and techniques to be able to look at all the stuff that's happening around the world, decide what would be the best way for you to move forward, or even if you wanted to start your own TV show, I can share with you a load of different things that could make you more effective on Zoom, Meets, and Teams. You might even be looking after a team of people who are all waiting for you to lead them forward into the daylight. I can certainly help with all those as a motivational speaker, and also helping you to use digital stagecraft. If you want to connect with me and see how I'm talking to people live, you can do that every single day by joining me on Clubhouse. I've got a special room dedicated just to you, which is how to start your own TV show. So regardless of what you do, grab your cup of coffee. We won't be talking for too long, just long enough to get you over the bump, back into daylight, and onto success. That tastes good. Life After Lockdown. See you there. And now this is what Ernesto's doing.
As the digital, physical, and biological worlds continue fusing together against the backdrop of innovation in artificial intelligence, the world is experiencing the fourth industrial revolution. Advanced wireless technologies, autonomous vehicles, 3D printing, commercial drones, and fintech all serve to open new areas for creativity, innovation, efficiency, and economic growth. In fact, some experts estimate that up to 80% of existing jobs will be automated by the fourth industrial revolution. The impact of this transition will reach all countries in the world, bringing opportunities as well as major challenges that could threaten to unleash political, social, and economic instability. The coronavirus pandemic, however, is hotwiring the fourth industrial revolution. The COVID-19 crisis will highlight how countries which began embracing next-generation technologies are set to adapt more easily to ongoing changes, as this disease represents a major paradigm shift. The wealthy countries of the Arabian Peninsula, such as the United Arab Emirates, began preparing for the fourth industrial revolution years ago. As the pandemic rushes the world into the future of digitization at a faster rate, these Gulf states are in comparatively strong position to make this transition smoothly for all the fears of a future where many jobs will cease to exist. These Middle Eastern countries have recognized that automation will create new markets and products, while also boosting workers' productivity. They understand that all countries in the world must embrace automation, as technology dictates new business models and pathways for government and private businesses to operate innovation hubs. These futuristic cities in the Gulf will help the region achieve AI breakthroughs that will enable countries such as the UAE, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia to play a lead role globally, and that's why we must learn from them. Doesn't matter where you live, you must prepare for the fourth industrial revolution. That's why we prepared for you the Freemium to Freedom Challenge. Get ready for an experience which will prepare you to thrive in the years to come.
And the big question is, what are you going to be doing?
Yeah. Very, very good point. So, Dave, we have now covered 12 points, which I think it's the blueprint for what every speaker, every author, every expert needs to be doing right now. If you're not doing this, you're really 2016, 2017, and that needs to change because the industry is never, ever going to be the same again.
I would also add another point. Number 13 is this presentation is for the keynote speakers. A smart player does all this as a lead in, but then sets up consultancy for every month for the next calendar year, delivering this every single time for the same company because they're doubling down on their niche, something they know a lot about, and the company who's already bought them once will buy them on an ongoing basis. In the virtual world, it's easy to deliver. You're not traveling anywhere, and the client's going to love you for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Dave. Well, we have now delivered, I think, one of the best master classes that we have done on the Toilet Paper Diaries, helping people work. We do not know if next week we will be there because there might be a solar flare hitting Earth, and possibly we're going to go back to the Stone Age.
That's true. If that's the case, Ernesto, it was great knowing you. I hope the weather gets better, and watch out for zombies because you never know. They get hungry this time of year.
Oh my God. I really pray that this is not going to be true because it's just, I mean, it's just insane. We had a blizzard here in Texas for 4 or 5 days. People got frozen inside of their living room. They died frozen. Because there was no heat, and then suddenly went to minus 17 degrees. And now these, I mean, it's like, what on earth?
Well, we just got our electrics bill, and my wife turned around to me and said, that's twice as much as we're normally paying. I said, yes, but we're alive. Let's just pay it.
Yeah.
We wish you the best of luck. Stay safe, stay warm, not too warm, because that solar flare is on the way. Wishing you all the very best. It's the Toilet Paper Diaries. Bye-bye.
Hopefully see you next week. Bye-bye.
Oh, the times were hard and the wages low. Lever, Johnny, lever. I guess it's time for us to go. And it's time for us to leave her. Beware these packet ships, I say. Lever, Johnny, lever. They'll steal your stores and your clothes away. And it's time for us to leave her. Lever, Johnny, lever. Oh, lever, Johnny, lever. For the voyage is done and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. There's Liverpool Pat in his tarpaulin hat. Lever, Johnny, lever. And Yankee John, the pocket rat. And it's time for us to leave her. She would not wear and she would not stay. Lever, Johnny, lever. She shipped great seas both night and day. And it's time for us to leave her. Lever, Johnny, lever.